Over the years it has become clear that the Russian Federation needs to renew its fleet of tactical bombers. To understand this, it is important to note that most of the units in the Russian arsenal come from the Soviet era. In fact, its most modern exponent dates back to 1981. With 40 years of service, the Tupolev Tu-160 returns to the world stage of military aviation, as it will be completely renovated to act in the 21st century. While awaiting the arrival of its new stealth bomber project, the PAK-DA, the Kremlin has decided to renew its aerial arsenal with the new White Swans, the Tu-160M and Tu-160M2, two variants of the classic Soviet Tupolev that feature many novelties. With their expanded characteristics, especially range and speed, as well as the ability to carry hypersonic missiles, Russia's new tactical bombers promise to fill the Kremlin's lack of air power. They also have a new type of radar, extremely sophisticated, which allows aircraft to fire backwards, known as RLS or rear-view radar, and increases the self-defense capacity of the Tu-160. With these updates, Russia ensures that the Soviet plane will rise from its ashes like a phoenix. Today we'll review in detail all these elements, and what will be the role of the White Swan in the future. If we analyze the great arsenal of the Russian Air Force, we quickly see that the power they have in terms of fighters is not matched by their heavy or tactical bombers. The truth is that the Kremlin has a huge lack regarding these aircraft, which are probably the ones that have made the least progress in the last 40 years. The poor and antiquated state of the Tupolevs has led even US Defense Ministry sources to scoff at Russian aircraft, saying their place is in historical museums, not battlefields. The Kremlin is also aware of this shortcoming, since years ago it began its PAK-DA tactical bomber project, which includes stealth elements, in a design very similar to the American V-2 Spirit. However, the development of the novel aircraft has been delayed several times, and the date of entry into service is looming in the late 2020s. In the meantime, they decided to look for a short-term solution, which could meet the needs posed by the war of the new millennium. In 2005, the project arose to modernize the old Tupolev Tu-160 that rested in Russian hangars. Russia has 16 of these beasts, and another 19 were in Ukraine's arsenals, but were returned to Russian territory, although their current whereabouts are uncertain. First, we'll look at the aspects of the White Swan that haven't been changed since its introduction in 1981. The White Swan is a tactical bomber, that is, with the ability to deploy nuclear weapons. Its length is 54.1 meters, its height is 13.1, and its wingspan varies according to the position of the wings. An important part of its design, in addition to the long-necked, stylized shape that gave it its nickname, is that its wings have variable geometry, so they can be deployed or retracted according to the needs of the aircraft. With a 66 degrees tilt, they give a 35.60 meter wingspan, which extends to 55.70 meters at a 20 degrees tilt. The Tu-160 weighs 111,000 kilograms empty, and its maximum takeoff weight is 275,000 kilograms. Of this cargo capacity, some 80,000 kilograms, divided into two internal weapons bays, are dedicated to carrying missiles and bombs. Its maximum operational speed is 2,222 km per hour, and its range is 12,300 km, although in the case of the Tu-160M it can be extended to almost 15,000 km. This is because the classic Samara-Trud NK321 turbofan engines of the original were replaced by a new version of them, the Kuznetsov NK3202, which, while retaining thrust and top speed, provides greater autonomy and operational range. What really sets the Tu-160M and M2 apart from the originals is their updated avionics, including long-distance detection sensors, digital displays, GPS-assisted Doppler inertial navigation systems, satellite connectivity, and fly-by-wire control. It also integrates a new rear-view radar, which is capable of locating targets in an area of 180 degrees from the tail of the plane. This rear view greatly increases the aircraft's self-defense capabilities, as it can fire missiles to intercept pursuing fighters, as well as air-to-air or ground-to-air projectiles. This technology began to be developed in 1980 but was never used until now. The Russians considered that, for a heavy bomber that is at the mercy of fighters, such a system is of high value. The Tu-160M2 version is very similar to the 160M, but with two major differences. First of all, these are aircraft built from the ground up, using the White Swan blueprints and the latest avionics. The second feature is the ability to launch projectiles as deadly as the Kinzhal, a nuclear-capable hypersonic ballistic missile. The Kh-47M2, also known as the Dagger, was introduced in 2017 as one of the superweapons presented by Vladimir Putin. Its maximum range, when fired from bombers, is about 3,000 kilometers, and its maximum speed varies from Mach 10 to Mach 12, depending on the source consulted. Roughly speaking, this means that the Kinzhal is capable of hitting a target at the limit of its range in around 12 minutes. The Kh-47M2 is propelled by a solid fuel rocket and carries a warhead capable of carrying up to 500 kilograms. As mentioned above, it can use either conventional or nuclear warheads, making it a brutal threat aboard a tactical bomber like the Tu-160M. To give us an idea of what this means, if the Kremlin wanted to launch an attack with the Tupolevs and the Kinzhals against Washington, it could do so in a span of 3 hours, from the takeoff of the planes to the impact of the missiles. If we consider a much closer target for Russia, such as Ukraine, a devastating blow could come in a matter of seconds. If we add to this that the Kinzhal's margin of error is only 1 meter, we can see that its nickname, the Dagger, is completely justified. The Russian Federation Air Force has already used the Kinzhal in Ukraine, when Tu-22 bombers launched it to destroy an underground weapons depot, which was completely devastated. Later, 3 missiles hit Odessa, and some MiG-31s were seen carrying these missiles in the Kaliningrad region. In an attempt to downplay the power of the Kinzhal, US President Joe Biden said, "As everyone knows, it's an important weapon, but it packs the same warhead as any other ballistic missile. It really doesn't make that much of a difference, except that it's almost impossible to stop it." Americans are evidently well aware of the power of upgraded Russian bombers, coupled with the Kremlin's new shells, which no longer seem to belong in museums but on battlefields. Thank you very much for joining us until the end. Stay tuned for our next video.